We'll roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, Indianapolis Colts 1-1, 1-0 on the road at the Baltimore Ravens, 2-0, 1-0 at home at M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, 74 Fahrenheit. Showers right now in the forecast. We got to keep an eye on that. 11 miles per hour. Shane Steichen coming off his first win as an NFL coach. And it was well-deserved. The Colts look good in that one. And we'll talk about it here. But let's start with the line history. First off, on the spread, we are sitting here with Baltimore as 7.5-point favorites. This opened at 8.5, so we've had a point move towards the Indianapolis Colts, and I like it. I like that move. I get it. When we go over to the total here, we're sitting at a 45. This opened up at 44. It jumped up to 45 at 3:54 p.m. today, so it's gone up a point. We get to the cash flow here. Sorry, let me find it. We have 44% of the tickets and 55% of the cash on the Indianapolis Colts, and the market has moved in their direction. And when we take a look at the total here for this one, we have 42% of tickets on the over and 70% of cash on that over. So Steichen gets his first win despite losing fourth overall pick Anthony Richards to a concussion early in the second quarter. The win snapped an 8-game losing streak dating back to last year. Richardson was 6 of 10 for 56 yards and ran 3 times for 35 yards and 2 touchdowns before he left. Gardner Minshew picked up right where Richardson left off. Gardner Minshew looked good, 19 of 23 for 171 yards and a touchdown. Gardner Minshew is a hard dude not to cheer for. Michael Pittman led receivers with 8 catches for 56 yards. Zach Moss returned from an injury, ran 18 times for 88 yards and a touchdown. I was very thankful we talked this out on NFL Pub Hub and I moved on the Colts. It just seemed like a blatantly obvious bet as soon as I had said I was just afraid to bet the Colts because of this bias of them losing. But we talked about we thought if Petrie and Jimmy Ward aren't in the Texans backfield and Zach Moss is back, then we're going to move on the Colts. And I don't know why I was afraid to do that. And the Petrie and Jimmy Ward issues for the Texans are, certainly things that I should have talked about in that breakdown, and whether Trevor Lawrence will be able to attack that like Minshew did so easily. They were a perfect 4-4 in the red zone. The defense looked very strong against a makeshift Texans offensive line. They got 6 sacks and 9 quarterback hits. They held the Texans to just 52 total yards on the ground. They held them just 1 of 4 in the red zone. And Ryan Kelly, their center, is in concussion protocol. Now, that's a problem. The Ravens coming off a 27-24 victory in Cincinnati. They outgained the Bengals 415 to 282, went 9 of 14 on third down. Lamar Jackson 24-33 for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran 12 times for 54 yards. Nelson Aguilar caught 5 for 63 and a touchdown. Zay Flowers caught 4 for 62, and Mark Andrews made his season debut. 5 catches for 45 yards and a touchdown. Odell Beckham left the game with an ankle injury and did not return. It's a sprained ankle. It seems to be minor. It's not expected to miss his impact his availability. If he is going to miss time, then Rashad Bateman will get more run, and he's coming off the Live Frank injury and expecting to ramp it up at some point. Gus Edwards ran 10 times for 62 yards and a touchdown, despite losing J.K. Dobbins for the season. The Ravens' MO stayed the same. They ran 37 times for 178 yards. The defense bent but didn't break. They allowed the Bengals to go 10 of 15 on third down. But they held the Bengals to just 66 yards rushing, and they didn't get a ton of pressure on Burrow. 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits, but they held the Bengals to 2 of 4 in the red zone, and Geno Stone had an interception. That was a huge game-changing interception. Burrow's still beating himself up over. So now that we've talked this all out, I didn't realize this then, but I like the Colts now. I didn't. This has come as a surprise to me. Take it away for us, Troy. Colts, Ravens.
I'm right there with you. I think the Ravens 2-0 record is somewhat misleading. Very unimpressive wins, in my opinion, when you look at their opponents. Bengals ranked 30th right now per PFF, and the Texans are 29th. Their offense looked much better. I think there might be something in week 2 than they did in week 1. I think there might be something, too, that they didn't want to put too much on film as it relates to their offense in week 1 against the Texans, thinking they can get by just bare bones. So I think there's something to be at least considered from that standpoint, thinking that, they wanted to hold some stuff back, not put a lot on film, or they just changed their game plan from what they did because of a couple injuries to J.K. Dobbins and some of their offensive linemen. But this offense is getting high praise on Pro Football Focus. But, I thought Lamar Jackson looked a lot better. Was kind of impressive against the Bengals. He made some accurate throws, had some good decisions. On defense, I think some of these numbers are misleading, so I won't even go through them, but they are below average in terms of getting pressure on the opposing team quarterback. And I'm with you on those Colts. I remember texting with you earlier in the week, Jimmy, last week, and you were talking about the Colts. Like, you were suggesting we take the Colts. And this was maybe 2 days after our live show. And they were on my mind all week, never got there. Watched NFL Pub Hub, even leaned harder, never got there. And I feel like I missed my opportunity a little bit. This offense, I think I give them a little bit of a boost with Gardner Minshew in a one-game sample. Just one game, right? Not talking about future expectations. I think I would want Gardner Minshew as my quarterback to make the right decision. Zach Moss was a huge boost at running back. Deion Jackson had to be the worst running back in the league through 1 week. This run blocking, let me see this. This has to be wrong. This might be a typo on my sheet. The Colts are tied for the first overall in run block efficiency in the NFL, which, yeah, it just blows my mind. And what do they do on defense? Their run defense is ranked first overall. Now, this is versus the Jags and the Texans, who we know are having issues, especially the Jags having a lot of issues running the football. Their pass rush 9th overall, but their coverage still, despite their, how good they've done on defense, is 29th overall. And they preseason, they were ranked this low as well. So it's kind of what we expected. But I think that 8 points is too much. I'm with you, Jimmy. I wanted the Colts. I haven't moved. I wanted to come on here and talk this out. I haven't looked at the chat because I've been firing around 1,000 different tabs. What is the chat leaning?
There's love for Baltimore. Here, I'll break it down a few of the guys here. Saturated, or let's go with Al Cervic. Al Cervic says, Baltimore is my team. I was very skeptical. I believe they're improving in the new offense. Terry Walker on the Ravens. Sky Dragon says, Baltimore is my favorite teaser leg, but he hasn't found anything to pair it with. And then Birdie says, horrible scheduling spot here for the Ravens. Shitty team sandwiched between Bengals and Browns. Says, love the Colts here and these points. So Cheshire on the Ravens first half says for Ravens first half at home is money. Sky Dragon liking the under. I'm surprised that's gone from 44 to 45. And Birdie says if Taylor gets back in this Colts roster, bet them for the division of SAP. I got there over 6.5 wins. I'm expecting to cash that comfortably. Honestly, I think Steichen is a very good coach. Now, I mean, he's going to make some, errors. As he's never had this much responsibility. But I really like him. Ron Crawford says a spreadsheet spot is on the Ravens. Dabby Cabin House, great to see you. Look, I'm going to move on the Colts tonight. I expect that this will be a 7 or a 7.5 at best, and I'd like to get the 8. I'm going to keep an eye out on this under. At this point, I'm just going to write that DG loving the under. I'm going to see if it keeps rising, and I like what the Colts are doing. I like what the Colts are doing. So
I'm right there with you. I think they're undervalued still. And I don't know if that's how much longer we're going to get these prices on these guys. I'm with you. I got the Colts on. They're going to be on my card.
Yeah, I'm going to bet the Colts this evening. Spenny Pennybomb says he likes the over. He said Minshew will air the ball out and I think he's capable of putting up points, but he also give the Raiders good field position with turnovers. We're still unclear exactly how bad the concussion protocol that Anthony Richardson is going through. It's still unclear. Yes, Cheshire, it'd be a full game for sure. Bet full for sure. All right, that's the 1 o'clock action. Let's